What's going on, my friends? It's your boy Dave Sharpe. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just rolled out of bed about 5 minutes ago. So I am waking up legendary this morning. Yeah, and that's sad because I'm on the East Coast. But anyways, let's get into this. Hold on a second. Factory worker? Wow, I was just talking to Nicole. And teaching assistant of 23 years. Chooses to take back her time with her family. Good for her. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Congrats on taking your time back. Why are you wanting to do such a crazy thing?
Well, I think my journey to wanting time freedom started 16 years ago.
Yeah.
I did spend 23 years in a factory, and 7 of those years I
Wow.
was a single mom.
What did you do
And
in
I
a
worked.
factory? Just so I understand. I've never worked in a factory, so I have this vision. But
Yeah.
what did you do?
It was an assembly line. The first 10 years was
Wow.
an assembly line. The second year, 13 years, was final inspection.
Wow.
But I vividly remember just really wanting to make my son breakfast in the morning, be able to take him to school, not be exhausted when I got out.
Yeah. So
2015 came around, and I'm married now, and I have another child, and
Yeah.
I still worked the same. Every hour of overtime that was offered to me, I took it. So
Wow. Wow, that sounds like a good reason to want to get out of the factory life and even teaching assistant. Now, talk to us a little bit about what that industry looks like, or what is not working. Obviously, I'm sure you love it. Maybe you don't. I mean, sometimes I love
yeah.
kids. Sometimes I
Well,
hate kids. I
actually,
wouldn't be surprised if you said that. But what's 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 not work? Is there not enough money in it? Explain to folks what it's like to be a teacher or a teacher's assistant.
Well, I did not go to college. I got that intervention assistant job just recently, just in 2022.
Okay.
I just really wanted to be on the same schedule as my children,
Yeah.
and stop working on their time and start working on mine. So when they're in school, I'm in school, and it's a fulfilling job. I help kids read and, if they're struggling in math, and it's fulfilling, but it does not pay well. And so the anxiety of thinking that I might have to return to a factory where overtime is offered was really starting to get to me.
Yeah.
So
You wrote in about your brother passing, and
so
I'm really
that's
sorry to hear that, first of all, and I want to give you my
thank you.
condolences. I'm really sorry that happened.
Thank you. That is where I believe my journey began, on that
And I
day.
don't know that everybody, so give some context, because I'm not sure that people even heard
Okay.
what happened. And you don't have to talk about it or
No, I
relive it
will.
if you don't want to.
No, I will, because that is where my journey began.
Okay.
March 21st, 2021, just over a year ago, my 26-year-old brother was killed on his motorcycle by a distracted driver. He was on his phone, and his life was over that day. After some of the shock wore off, time became a strange phenomenon. I could almost physically hear a clock tick. I started to feel like I was aging faster. My parents were aging faster. My kids were getting older faster. And I was aware, I've always been aware, like everyone is, that we're only here for a certain amount of time, right? But I started to look back on my life and ask myself, Nicole, what have you done with the last 41 years?
Wow.
What will your kids remember about you when they're older, that you chose all the overtime you could get? You were always tired. You were always stressed about money, even when you weren't working.
Yeah.
What will they remember about you? And I wasn't happy with what my answers were. And so I knew that I needed to take my time back. I
Wow.
had to.
What a story. What a perspective, and what a deep what a deep why, you know?
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that you can't still have bad days, and that doesn't mean that
Right.
you can't still feel like giving up sometimes, and I
Right.
don't want folks to listen to this and be like, "Oh, Nicole's been delivered stone tablets from God
No,
himself and now has some motivational touch." But my lord, do you feel connected and motivated by these things that you've just told us about?
absolutely. Barb McGowan, I do
Mhm.
want to mention her because she
Yeah.
is amazing.
Mhm.
And we had a conversation, and I don't even think she realizes what a blessing that conversation was to me.
Mm.
But she said, Nicole, your why should make you cry. And it absolutely did, and it does. And
Yeah.
I think that as humans, we're so used to feeling weak or vulnerable when we're in pain or in an uncomfortable space. And that couldn't
Mhm.
be further from the truth. The amount of strength and determination and power that is inside of your pain point or your uncomfortable space is unmatched. And I had to get inside of my why and
Mm.
get in that uncomfortable space and stay there for a minute so that I could
Mm.
get my mindset right. You mentioned that in the first couple days of the 15-day business builder challenge. Had
Mhm.
I known the transformation that that was going to create in
Mm.
me, I had no idea. It was a painful, amazing, beautiful transformation. And I would purchase it over and over and over again.
Yeah. You
It
know.
went so far out. It went so far beyond affiliate marketing.
Mm, that's fantastic. Well, my journey has gone so far beyond. I
Hmm.
don't even. I forget I'm doing affiliate marketing
Yeah.
sometimes, honestly, and I until someone's thinks this is just all about affiliate marketing. Then I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
that's what we're doing here. But it's the skills that we're developing here. If one, you and anyone else listening leans into this process instead of just start. We had a guy this weekend, and God bless him. Okay, God bless him, but he bought our challenge on a gift card on Saturday, and by Sunday, was emailing our customer support over and over and over and over and over again asking for a $7 refund. And it's like those are two opposite extremes, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Those are two
Hmm.
opposite extremes. And neither is wrong and neither is right, and I'm not here to judge, but I'm just observing human behavior, and I've seen so many people over the years, and it's amazing how hard we work to fail.
Exactly.
We work so hard to struggle,
Yeah.
because we're unwilling to let go of beliefs, and we're unwilling to let go of different perspectives, or we're unwilling to let go of certain identities. And like you've just talked about, each person's transformation looks totally different. And
Yes.
that's one of the big things that I really want to drive home, is that if you feel anything going on, some uncomfortability, and you lean into it, some thoughts of, oh, this is going to fail and I'm going to be a miserable failure, but you stay the course
Yes.
and you don't let your feelings just totally dominate your life and get you, it's I over E. I learned that in drug
Yes.
treatment, and I'll never forget that. It's not that feelings aren't important, but my feelings, especially when I'm doing something new, can be all over the place. I could be walking around with my father's feelings that he gave me from his father, and I don't know what's really real. I need to take a step back. That's why it's good to listen to Wake Up Legendary and why we do it every day, because sometimes I need to find a good trusted person. I need to
Yeah.
listen every day, and that will help lubricate the joints so I can start stepping into my potential, is really what
Yes.
it boils down to. My potential. And Nicole, it's not that your job in the factory wasn't meaningful. It's not that your teacher's assistant work isn't meaningful. It's not any of that. But it's not where you want to be, and it's not
Right.
it's caught. You can do something about it, I think,
Yes.
is the thing. That's what is the first big decision, is really actually deciding that I can change this.
Yes.
And you look back at yourself, and I do too sometimes, at some of the things that I did for multiple years. Do you ever look at the 10 or how long did you 13 years in the factory?
I
Do you
spent
ever
23 years between two factories.
So do you ever look at obviously that was a part of your big moment, right? You kind of
Yes.
looked at you said with your own words just a moment ago, I'm 41 and I said, what have I accomplished? Is that sort of was the moment of truth for you? It was a question similar to that, right?
Well, I just realized,
I
Dave,
can't
that
forget what you said, but it was something. I don't want to butcher it. That's why I'm throwing it back over
no,
to you.
well, I look back on my children's lives, right? That's the most important part of my life. That is my purpose, my why. And I realized that I blinked, and my firstborn is now 16, and my baby is now 6, and I
I get
missed
it.
it. I
I
missed
get
it
it. Yeah.
because if I wasn't working, I was exhausted because I've always been a really hard worker. I was raised by a single mom
Yeah.
who never complained, and she taught us you don't have time to sit down and cry about it. Get up and
Mm.
work. And so
Wow.
I always kind of patted myself on the back. I took pride in how much I worked.
Being a hard yes.
But I was
I think that
trading,
happens with a lot of families.
yes, but I was trading the best parts of my life for that paycheck.
Yeah.
And so when Trent passed away, my brother, I realized that I'm not here forever. He was 26. And what am I going to do with the time that I have left here? And I'm not trying to sound like sad or depressing or anything, but that was just my personal reality.
Yeah. No,
That's real for me. And I just became so aware of
yeah.
the choices I make and how they will affect not only my life, but my children's lives.
Mm.
And I needed to do better. And I knew that I could, but I had to get my butt up and work.
Um, I, wow, that's powerful. Um, what I heard right there also, and I talked about this on Decade in a Day the other day with that group.
Mhm.
Um, and it was a very simple slide. Initiative over entitlement.
Mhm.
And it really is it's one of the big differences between the mindset that a lot of us have coming in and the mindset that we need, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of us come in with an attitude of entitlement where
Yes.
um you know, it's amazing. I mean, I think I am just now coming to terms with the fact that the world really doesn't owe me shit. But
Yeah.
I haven't really, like, that's a big pill to swallow. Seriously,
Yeah, it is.
when you really, really just come to the terms that nobody owes me shit. Like,
Yep.
nobody owes me a damn thing, and I don't owe anybody anything. I really d
Yep.
like, if like, today, and I'm not talking about little things where maybe I owe somebody an apology or an amends. I'm just saying that
Right.
on a large scale, nobody's coming to save you, me, anybody. They might send us a check for $1,200 to get through a global, you know what? Oh, big
Yeah.
deal. I'm sure everybody felt real saved, right?
Yeah.
Um, Nobody's coming to save you, and nobody owes you shit, Dave.
No.
And that initiative, even to come up with your own why. I mean, people the the divide between entitlement and having initiative seems to be so thin for a lot of people because um I don't know. I don't know if whether it's that we had things done for us, whether it was how we were trained in school or a job, but I see a lot of people struggling
Yeah.
because they don't know the difference between taking initiative and having entitlement. How would you define that? The difference between the two and how that applies in this in having your own business?
Well, I really think that we go back to mindset. you really have to dig for your why. You have to, this is a business where you have to take ownership of your actions, of your thoughts, and work. Um, the I don't know how to. I'm trying to come up with the right words.
Well, I
Um,
have a thought. I have a thought, and it's this this business, and actually, as you were talking, when you were talking about your why, what I was thinking about is the fact that you said you have to dig deep, but I
mhm,
actually think that you just have to open your eyes and have some awareness and look
mhm,
around at your life.
right.
And you probably find your why real quick, but I think that most of us live in a pretty deep-seated
Yeah.
denial about how bad things are, or about
Yes.
how much we're not paying attention to our children, or about how much we're stressed out over money. And I think that if we just open our eyes like you did, you said that just a second ago. You
Mhm,
said, I gained awareness. I
mhm,
gained awareness. And folks, that's what I think how you can find your why is just be honest. If
mhm.
I guarantee you any um uh look up the definition of entitlement. Damn it. Google it. Don't you ask that in those comments. Vincius, I see you on here every day. Google it, boy. Learn how to be resourceful. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so man, I think we can all just open our eyes and look around and find a pretty damn good reason, if we're honest, to get
Yeah.
our ass in gear. That was a thought
Yeah.
that came up for me.
But when I say digging, it's because I think we go through life, and not everybody. I'm telling my story, so in a
Talk about
personal.
yourself. Perfect. Perfect.
We coast through life, or I have coasted through
Yeah.
life that it was just normal
Yeah.
to send my kids to daycare because, well, I have to go to work, and it's normal to be tired after you've worked 12 hours in a factory. Um, so I that my why was buried pretty deep. And that's where again I had to go back to mindset. Um I had to dig. I had
Yeah.
to do the work. It was truly a painful process, and one that I would do over and over and over again because it was so worth it. And it all
Yeah.
started with the education. I didn't,
Yeah.
you know, I like I told you, I had looked back on my life, and that all started with my brother, but I hadn't truly begun the process of going in and tending to my own mindset
Mm.
until I started the education. And to be really honest with you, I started. I bought the challenge on February 7th. I started the rest of February, March, and even the first week of April. Um, I was creating content and it just nothing was happening. I had to stop and go back because I would ask. Cy was my business plan advisor, and he was so helpful. I'm so thankful for him. But
He's
I would say,
incredible.
Cy, why isn't it working? What if it doesn't work? And he said, Nicole, if you say if one more time, I'm never helping you again. What he was really saying was affiliate marketing works. Your education works. You're not working. Or I would say, Sai, I don't know what kind of content. I can't hear you.
That's what you heard from Sai. He didn't say
He didn't
those
say it.
exact words, but sometimes it's up to us to
Yes.
translate what others are saying or find meaning in a situation.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
initiative versus entitlement. It's not Sai's
Yes.
job to find your meaning for the
Right.
moment.
Right. I would say, Sai, I don't. I'm stumped on what kind of content to create. I don't know anything. And he would say, just post what you do know. What he was saying is, have you not learned anything in the education? You
Mm,
took the whole education. Have you not learned anything? I
wow.
learned something, but I learned it with the wrong mindset. So I stopped. I didn't create any more contact. I actually took my TikTok down and started again. And I took a few weeks off and I went back through the education. This
Mm,
time with the mindset that I should have had the whole time. But when I went into it thinking I'm doing something great because I'm taking the first step and going through the education, what I was really doing was focusing on the result because I was so uncomfortable where I was. I was missing all the good stuff in the
mm.
journey. All the good stuff is in the middle, and I missed it. So I had to go back and I had to do it again. And I encourage anybody that may be struggling, stop and go back. Your
Yeah.
education works, it's proven. This is a business we have to take ownership. We just have to. And it's worth it.
Yeah. It is proven, and I
Hmm.
wish I could say that I invented it, but I actually didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just a messenger, you know? I'm just a
Yeah.
guy who's used the skills. I mean, I've invented some things that, that I think that anybody else could invent, which is little systems or processes that you name so they kinda become yours, like, anybody can do that. Um, you're right. And Saya was right, and what you just said was possibly one of the most powerful things that's ever been said on this show. Just
Thank you.
just that, how you described that, and I think everybody, if we're honest and we really slow down and look at how we've behaved throughout this process, we'll
Hmm.
see that we were also either excited or anxious about the result, fearful or excited are usually the two two feelings that we feel. That we feel excited and we feel afraid,
Yeah.
um, and you're right. A lot of times we miss the magic
Hmm.
of the journey of the ride. Um,
Yes.
it's sort of like going on vacation, right? And some of the best conversations happen on road trips. Sometimes you get to know
Yes.
people better than but if you just have your headphones on the whole time or you just have the radio on the whole time and you're only focused on the destination, then now all of a sudden you're getting to know whoever you're with when you get there instead of you could
Yeah.
so you're right. There's a lot of magic that can happen in the journey, on the way there. The things that you can see, the things that you can pick up, the people that you can talk to. And I'm actually speaking about a physical journey. But the same
Yeah.
thing happens with education as I'm going through the challenge or the blueprints or whatever I've got in front of me to do. It's important that I lean into that and really take it in, and then say, how can I apply this? How can I apply this? How does this, how do I apply this in my business right now? And what most of you will find when you go through the education is it's actually purposefully not. No, I'm not one of those gurus who likes to speak over people's heads and talk about all these complicated philosophies. Sure, we can all get fancy, but you'll find that the education's rather straightforward and that
Hmm.
there's concepts like the fishing formula and the blueprints that help you just to go into any niche and figure out who your customer is, how you can get them to come to you, how you can funnel them in your funnel, how you can make more money from selling them more products. I mean, um, there's a lot here, and you're right. The training does work, and even still, with all that proof around, some folks, will come up with any damn excuse to work really hard to continue to suffer and struggle. And that's why I think that
Hmm.
your comments about mindset and why we talk about it here so much, even though y'all get tired of it. Um, but it's true. It's so powerful, it's so needed, and so much of the things that we bring in and are carrying around are not even shit that's ours. I mean, you were talking about
Yeah.
I think your mother, and you were talking about your family, and in fact, I mean, come on, Nicole, you're a product of your environment, and now
Yeah.
you're stepping out into the global world and sort of saying, "Hey, I'm here, Nicole's here, and I'm gonna dominate some shit." But up until this point, you were simply a product of your environment, right? I mean,
Hmm.
did you grow you know? I grew up where I live still, so it's been very easy for me to get involved in the local community and have a job like that. And you know what,
Mhm.
folks? That's not a bad life. Nobody's here to say that's a bad life or we don't look down on anybody. But it's about your satisfaction. It's about
Mhm.
you. None of us came and knocked on your door and told you to come to Legendary. You were looking for something. You were on the
Yes.
internet. And here you are in many, just to finish this point and then I'll let you go. So many of you are right here at the front door of your dreams. Even if it's just education in this industry, maybe you're like, hey, this Dave Sharpe guy, screw him. But the information, the knowledge, this industry, this business model, using platforms, digital platforms, is the way of the future. And I think it's the way of the future that's a healthy bet versus NFTs and cryptos, which are still so
Yeah.
speculative. We don't know. This is not going anywhere. Selling information, running ads, building organic profiles, and then selling them information products, I promise you, will never, ever go away. And most people, I think, will start to pick up on the business model and say, that's the
Mhm.
most brilliant shit I've ever. I can't. This person is literally selling information. They're not even shipping, manufacturing, doing anything. People are going to pick up on this and be like, "Holy hell, this is an incredible business model." But what were you thinking? You looked like you
Me?
wanted to say something a minute ago, and I was just ranting.
Oh, no, you weren't ranting. I think, when we were kids, our parents didn't have the opportunities we have now, right? So that's just the way it was. Even 16 years ago, this
Yeah,
opportunity wasn't available. There was barely even a MySpace. Okay.
true.
Um, but now 2022, even,
You make a
five,
good point right there, Nicole. Hey,
yeah.
touche. Okay, you make it. You make as my wife's father would say. You make a good point there. Hey, it's a point in fact. He says, right, honey? Where are
Yeah.
you going? Oh,
But we have opportunities that we didn't have back then. And so
yeah.
we can move different now. When I started this, I told 3 people, and those same 3 people are only the same 3 people that know to this day. And
Uh,
the reason I only told 3 people was because I knew how fragile I was. Even constructive criticism would have been enough to turn me upside down. So I
uh,
told my mother, because she's my best friend, my husband,
this is
and my
important.
16-year-old son.
Mm.
And my biggest and only supporter was my 16-year-old. He would see me on my computer and he'd be like, Mom, I am so proud of you. And
Yes, I
you are
love
doing
this
so
kid.
good. But the reason it was so easy for him to be so supportive is because he is of a new generation. He has not been
Yeah,
programmed to trade 40, 50, 60 hours of his week for a paycheck. He knows everything is done online.
yeah.
Things are changing, the world is changing, and monetizing the internet and the social media platforms that we use every day has never been smarter. It's the best thing you can learn how to do, and he knows
It is
that
true.
because he's 16.
Right. Good for him. And I think you make such a good point. You're a wise person. I mean, right. We did not have the opportunity that we have today 16 years ago, 20 years
Mm-mm.
ago. Um, so you son of a guns out there better take advantage of this thing
Yes.
because it ain't never been this good before, right?
No,
I mean,
go get it.
it really is something. And you're right. I mean, even back when I started, MySpace was still kicking, it still had
Yeah.
a little life left in it. And Facebook was on the come up.
Mm-hmm.
That was where all the older folks were on Facebook. It's kind of like a boomer hangout. I
Yep.
think it still kind of is. I don't think the boomer generation has all made it over onto the other places yet, but they're getting there. They're getting there.
They
They're
are.
coming. They're coming, and they're a buying. They're buying,
Yep.
people. You think that they ain't buying off TikTok? You think they ain't buying off Instagram? You are crazy. They are buying like
Yep.
it's going out of style. Um, so I mean, we've got a potential now. Just a few months ago, I mean, the economy was going crazy. Now we're on the verge of a potential recession. I mean, who knows
Yes.
where things are going. How are you feeling about that now that you're in a different situation than you were, with the factory and so forth? How are you viewing? Are you even paying attention to things like that? Are you what's your view on, like, okay, where am I going over the next year? Where's the world going over the next year? What's your perspective?
I really try to avoid news as much as possible. Some is unavoidable because it
Why
just
would you
doesn't do
do
any.
such a thing? It's
I
so
know.
true and informative.
I know. It's just, it can really get inside you, you know? There's not a whole lot of great stuff happening. So,
That's because you're
gas
not
prices
watching
are
until the
just,
end. The last 60 seconds, they usually air some sort of positive news, Nicole. Now, don't be so
yeah.
negative.
um, Now, if we're heading straight into a recession, like I feel like we are, and we're going there fast, now is all the
Put your
more
seatbelt
reason.
on, sons of bitches.
Put
We're
your
going there
seatbelts
fast.
on. We're going. It just gives me all the more reason to know that I made the best choice and why everybody should learn how to create multiple streams of passive income. There's never been a better time than now. There just hasn't.
And I've
Learn it.
lived through a couple of recessions. Well, at least one
Yes.
recession. I'm not that old. I've lived through a couple of recessions now on these interwebs. No, but the 2008, 2009 was just kind of
Yeah.
happening as I was coming online. So, and I don't remember there being any sort of, oh, nobody's buying online. I mean, people
No.
were still buying online, just
Yes.
like they were over the big thing that happened over the last couple of years. I mean,
Yes.
would we have ever, all the crystal ballers and all this, would they have ever imagined that it would have been like that? So, we say recession, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to stop buying. People's behaviors are likely going to shift.
Mhm.
But I remember in the 2008 through 2010, whatever, when the kind of housing economy collapsed and everybody was in a massive recession, everybody was losing that. And I was just getting clean. I kind of like, I kind of like rose up from like a pile of ashes from under a bridge and was like, my life sucks. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
clean now. And everybody's like, it's a recession. I just lost my house. I'm like, shit, I ain't never had a house, to lose. But now I do.
Now you
Now I
do.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm not
No.
going to change anything that I'm doing. I'm not going to not, I'm not, we're not doing anything different here at
No.
Legendary because people are going to be buying, and it's already been proven people are going to be, they might be, traffic might slow down a little bit or sales might take a little bit of a dip, but get in the game long term. Don't complain about the last month when you start and then this month and act like you've been doing it for 20 years. I mean, those of you who are just getting into this, and this year, if we have a little recession or a big recession, whatever, understand that the traffic, the leads, the sales, they're going to fluctuate. They're just going to
Mhm.
fluctuate. And it's important to look at your long-term growth, your year over year, month over month, or year over year, not your day over day. Sometimes we get too like micro on this and we want to, well, I haven't gotten any sales in the last 2 days or whatever. Well, I can remember when days and days and days where I didn't get any sales and I was getting sales. I had started to get sales. That doesn't mean that you're in a recession. Um,
Right.
it just means that, people, these are real human beings. And I think sometimes we forget about that. And if you're looking at human beings like, and I'm saying this just for anybody who's new and listening, like if you're looking at this business with an entitlement of a commission, what you're really doing is you're looking at people like a piece of meat and like they're just
Mhm.
a dollar sign and not thinking about that it's an actual human being on the other side who is not going to give you shit unless you give them something of value. It doesn't matter recession or not, you're not going to win. So recession or not, over the next year or two, whatever, as the global economy expands and contracts like it's done for the last 100 years, it's important that we all stay consistent, because what
Yes.
happens, and this is what I did. I started this Wake Up Legendary show when we were doing it, but Matt and I forget. He probably was like, "You should go live," and I was like, "Fuck no!" Every day, and then we did it, and it's been awesome. But
Excuse me.
but in 2020 of March, I was just like, "Yo, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go live every day. All right, we'll do it." And man, I'm telling you, like, we acted at the beginning of the last big what world event. We acted. That's the definition of what you do if you think the world or the economy or the marketplace is about to do something, contract. You don't contract with it, you expand, right? When
Yes.
others are fearful, be greedy. That's what Warren Buffett says. And when others are greedy, be fearful, right? Be concerned, right? So as other people, this is how an entrepreneur wins. This is how you win in a market. If anybody is wondering what to do over the next year, expand as others are contracting, because they're getting fearful, they're afraid, they're scared, they're looking for leadership, they're looking for direction, they're looking for hope. And if you're there and can give that to them along with something that's solid, some education, a plan, you're gonna crush it throughout this next year. But if you contract and get fearful along with everybody else, sorry,
You're in trouble.
you know what I mean? The world doesn't know you anything. The world doesn't know you anything either. You know what I mean? If that's what you try to do, and I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to everybody out there. I love this because I get to say things every day that remind me of the truth, and the truth shall set us free in our business. The truth shall set us free. We believe a lot of untruths or half truths about what creates success. But as you've outlined today, very, very powerfully, and the few little nugs that I've thrown in too are the real secrets, are the real, these are the secrets that you're willing to pay the big bucks for from said guru or goblin, but we just gave them to you for free. So use them. Nicole, thanks for coming on, and come back and see us. Any final thoughts or final words? I want to share your TikTok account with everybody as well, so they can go and connect with you. Hustle with Birdie. I like
That's my
that. Is that
nickname, by the way,
your nickname? All right, Birdie.
since I was born.
Nice.
I would just really encourage anybody who may be struggling to get back inside of your why. Get back inside of the uncomfortable space that drove you to make the decision to start affiliate marketing. We are used to feeling weak and vulnerable when we're in pain or uncomfortable, and that can't be further from the truth. There is power, there is strength, there is grit and determination inside of that pain point, inside of that uncomfortable space, and use it. If you have to take a step back and do it again, do it again. Your followers, if I have a very slow moving, slow growing TikTok, but a few months ago, that really hurt my feelings. Now I see that I have effectively narrowed down my target audience. And there's 3,000 people, not numbers, not followers, people that are where I was a few months ago. And they're just waiting to take a leap. Keep posting. Give them a reason to know, like, and trust you. And when they're ready, they will come back to you. Keep going. And
Girl,
keep going back to your education.
You are a powerhouse.
Thank
Powerhouse.
you.
I am. Where are you from again?
Holland, Michigan.
Michigan. That's I would have guessed that with the factory. I'm serious. I mean, just that is a
Tons of
factory working
factories.
state, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Well,
is.
you know what? Hey, I hope you don't have to go back to the factory again. I know you won't if you don't want to.
Nope.
You know, your spirit and your information, your wisdom, and your ability to be able to now share it with others because you've done the work, Nicole, is unprecedented. It's unbelievable. And you deserve, and I'd like to just give you the utmost permission, even beyond what you've given yourself already, to go out there and speak with unbelievable conviction and confidence, because I don't care how much money you've made. If you were out there, marketing, make money online or education, I would not care how much money you've made, because you are a leader and you are speaking nothing but truth. And I can tell that you've done the work by the things that you're saying. So keep it up. Seriously,
will.
you are a badass. So come
Thank
back
you.
and see us if you'd be willing for a second or third, we'll get to the second round first, and then we'll do a third if you're not sick of me yet.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you.
See ya. All right, my friends. Hi, Matt. You going to join us? We got Matt and we got Nicole on the show now. Hi.
Hi. I didn't add myself, but I don't know what happened.
Now. Well, just
Hi. Good morning.
How you doing? We're actually wrapping up now, so get the hell out of here. All right, Nicole. I'm not going to tell you to get the hell out of here. Bye-bye. All right, my friends. I'm gonna go do some real work now that I'm all fired up. This was real work. Ask Papa Don. If you ain't writing, if you ain't speaking, and if you ain't filming, you ain't working, right? Man, oh man. Wow. I just got to marinate. Let me put her TikTok link up there. I got to marinate on this. This was a powerful episode that is worth a re-listen. And I'm telling you right here, right now, if you're listening to this and you need a reminder, keep this one in your play deck. You know what I mean? Keep this one on your saved playlist, because the things that she talked about how she progressed through the beginning of her journey and how she chose to view things to empower herself, whether versus disempower ourselves, is just absolutely breathtaking, masterful, and amazing. And every interview on here, every show is wonderful, but I thought that one about the mindset piece and how she is just, there's a lot of gold in there. All right, my friends, get in there, make today matter. Do something. Yes, please rewatch, my boy. Please rewatch, Ezekiel. Please rewatch. So powerful. Such gold nuggets. Teresa, thanks for being on. Gail, thanks for being on. Maurice, thanks for being here. Sarah, good to see you. Bruce, good to see you. Tammy, nice to see you too. All right, my friends. All right. Brian, my man. Kevin, good talk. Teresa. All right. We'll see y'all. Get in that your education will not fail you. It will not fail you. And neither will your mindset. You have inside you what it takes to be successful. Now go show the world.